let's move on.
Okay, what would you like to do?
Well, I'll tell
would
you.
you like to talk about Tin Pan and Alley Rag? Or your interview with the
well, this was
people from
actually
out
not
town?
my interview.
Oh, it's not?
No. I'll tell you the one, when you go to school.
Who did the interview?
Well, we're getting to that.
Oh.
When you go to school in most parts of the country, you know, you study plays like Our Town, Romeo and Juliet. But the wonderful thing about going to school here in New York is that you may actually get to see the play that you're studying and meet the cast. And that is exactly what happened to my daughter Miriam's class. She's in the 6th grade at Ramaz. And her class was studying.
Is there a guy at the door who goes, "That's a horse of a different color"? No, I'm sorry. That's from Wizard of Oz. Sorry.
Yeah, I know that. Everybody knows it.
Brush, brush, brush.
Katrina probably knows it. But you know what?
I'm sorry.
We're not talking about that now.
Okay.
Remember, Katrina may be watching you, so behave.
Oh, Katrina? I didn't know what you were talking about there.
Okay. Anyway,
Katrina.
so we were very pleased to
Karina,
have.
by the way,
Oh, it's
so-
Karina. I'm sorry.
Okay, Katrina.
Well, that's why she's going out with you and not with me.
She's my girlfriend.
Yeah. Amazing. See how we've turned an autograph into a relationship?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Stalker.
All right. But we had the leads from Our Town. There's a wonderful production of Our Town currently playing off Broadway. And we had Jennifer Grace and James McMenamin, who play George and Emily in the play. This is the Thornton Wilder play. Come to speak with my daughter's class. And it was an interview, but my daughter's classmates asked the questions.
So we're going to hear a bunch of 10-year-olds ask questions?
That's correct, yes. Some very nice questions and some very wonderful answers.
Let's see how they do.
Okay.
Just wanted to introduce you by name instead of by character. And you are playing George, you are?
I'm James McMenamin.
And playing Emily?
Jennifer Grace.
And what we've done is we've asked 2 of our students, Miriam and Stephen, to serve as moderators. And what Miriam and Stephen are going to do is they're going to call on a few of our students to ask questions that they've prepared in advance for you.
Great.
Some of our questions are about the play, and some of our questions are about your role and yourselves as actors.
Right.
So we ask Miriam to stand over here, and Stephen, where are you, honey?
I'm right over here.
Stephen, come on up. Stephen, why don't you stand on the other side of Emily?
Jennifer.
And Jennifer, that's right. And we'll let Stephen ask for our first student. Stephen, go ahead.
Should I ask the question?
Just ask the name of the student at the top.
Oh, Helena.
Helena, why don't you stand up?
So, how did the characters Emily and George meet for the first time?
How did they, I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Yeah. How did the characters Emily and George meet for the first time?
Well, we grew up next door to each other, right? I think at the very top of the play, it says that, doesn't it? Somewhere in the stage manager's speech?
Yeah. So we grew up next to, it's a very small town and we live exactly like next door, so we kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
In the play, the first time they talk is on the walk home from school.
Yeah, in the play, the first time you see them on stage together is when they're coming home from school and George asks for help with homework. If maybe he can ask for some hints, right? But first time they meet in the world of Grover's Corners, when they first saw each other coming home from the hospital, I guess. Who knows? I don't think that George and Emily probably remember the first time that they met. They've just always been next door to each other.
Orly Mintz. How did you get cast for the role of Emily, and had you read or heard about the play beforehand?
Well, I had heard about the play before. I read it in high school, which I don't remember, but my English teacher tells me that I read Emily when I was a junior in high school, and we were just in class reading the play, and she said I did a very good job, so maybe that had something to do with it. But I studied it like you guys, in the same, probably very similar sort of way. I had just read the play in class and took quizzes on it and stuff like that. And then I forgot about it until I was a grown-up. And I have a theater company back in Chicago that I'm a part of. And last year, we decided that we were going to do Our Town. And I had forgot about this play since I was a kid, and I said, why are we doing Our Town? Who cares about Our Town? And then I read it again, and I really loved it. And I asked if I could be a part of it, because it was my theater company. I felt like I could do that. And they said yes. So I got to be a part of it. I didn't have to audition for it then. But then fast forward a year, and we came to New York and put this New York production together, and we had a whole new team of producers and crew, and a lot of fantastic New York actors joined us, and I had to come and audition to play the part again here in New York. So it happened that way.
Lauren?
As you play your parts, does it actually feel like you're in love with each other?
You want to take that one, James?
You get emotionally invested in the play during the run of the show every night. You do get emotionally invested. I don't know if we're necessarily in love with each other, but
James and I are quite fond of each other.
Yeah, certainly.
But we both, in our real lives, have other people that we're actually really in love with.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's important that George and Emily love each other, right? You guys can agree on that, right? That it's important. So I think as actors, no matter what, you have to really care about each other. We're just not in love, and we don't kiss unless we're in the play.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Well, who's this to Emily? What did George say to make you interested in him?
That's a really good question, because I think there are a lot of ways that you can read the play, and you guys right now are reading the play, right? Mm-hmm. You can read it, and you can come up with all kinds of different ways that the characters could actually say their lines, the words in the script. And there are lots of different ways that the story could unfold, even though the words are exactly the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In the production that we're doing with our director, who has sort of, you know, coached us how he wanted the scenes to work, we worry less about the sweet, sort of cheesy falling in love stuff. Just the way I'm sure that you guys, there are people in your lives that you love, but it's not always sweet and cheesy and googly-eyed, right? So the moment that I think Emily realizes that she's in love with George, have you guys read the scene where they go to the soda shop?
Yeah.
The way we do that scene, and you guys know that there's a big fight in that scene, right?
Yeah.
And the fight is basically about these two people who have a different opinion of each other than the other one thought they did. So I feel like George is really conceited, and he's got his own ideas about how I feel, about how I've been acting. For me, Emily falls in love with George when she realizes that George isn't going to back down, that he'll fight her and she can't bully him. So I don't think I've ever told you that.
No,
there you go.
That's news to me.
Samantha?
Do you enjoy the roles you're playing?
Oh, I enjoy it very much, very much. It's a really great part. It's a really great show. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, ditto for me.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
Favorite part of the play? Oh man, you want to take that one?
I'm a big fan of the soda shop scene. It's the longest scene in the play.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot of complications in the relationship between the two characters, and we kind of get to go at it for a while. It's a lot of fun.
And sometimes people clap at the end of that scene, which we like.
Yeah.
So if you come and see the play, feel free to clap after that scene. We like it.
Skylar? George, did you read this play as a child?
I read it when I was a junior in high school, which
Me too.
I think it's crazy that you guys are reading it in the 6th grade. That's really amazing. I read it when I was 16 years old, which is the exact same age as George at the top of the play. And I got to tell you, it did not affect me the same way it does now as an adult. You guys haven't finished the play yet, right? A lot of you haven't.
I didn't.
Well, I won't ruin it for everybody, but there's a lot that happens in the play that, yeah. But when I was 16, the play didn't land the same way for me. It didn't really affect me the same way it does as an adult.
I would say whether you guys like the play or don't like the play, I would recommend that you read it again in 10 years. I don't know if you'll remember to do that, but if you do happen to remember to do that, I bet you this play won't sound like the same play that it sounds to you right now. That's what everyone I know who read it when they were in junior high or high school, that's what they say about it when they read it as an adult.
You guys right now probably connect with the characters of George and Emily a lot, right? They're the young folks in the play, and you guys are getting a little older, and you kind of understand that stuff. But as you get older, you start to connect with different characters in the play, and it kind of speaks to you at different points in your life every time you examine it.
Alright, David?
Did playing the roles of George and Emily have any effect on how you think about life?
Yeah, I think definitely. I don't think just, for me, it's not just playing Emily, but it's being a part of this play, because I think that this play has a really important message about how great life is, and that the greatness is in the boring parts. And you can't necessarily love every moment of every boring part of your day, but wishing that time would speed up isn't going to make it any better. It's just going to speed up your life, which is the last thing you want to do.
Emily.
Hello.
Hello.
I can't work at all. The moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which?
Third.
Why, yes, George. That's the easiest of them all.
I don't see it. Emily, can you give me a hint?
I'll tell you one thing. The answer's in yards.
Yards, how do you mean?
In square yards.
Square yards.
Yes, George, don't you see?
Yeah.
In square yards of wallpaper.
Wallpaper. Oh. I see. Thanks a lot, Emily.
You're welcome. My, isn't the moonlight terrible? And choir practice going on. I think if you hold your breath, you can hear the train all the way to Kentucky. Hear it?
What do you know?
Well, I guess I better go back and try to work.
Good night, Emily. And thanks.
Good night, George.